Welcome to Cloudcast, where you get an inside look at St. Cloud, Florida's local government. Whether you live, work, or play here, we're bringing you the information you need to better understand your city. Cloudcast is hosted by our communications team, including Miriam Batchelder, Andrew Sullivan, Deborah Carson, and Jay B. Miller. Thanks for listening in to Cloudcast.
All right, welcome St. Cloud. Welcome back to another great edition of Cloudcast. We are celebrating this week at the St. Cloud Police Department. It's National Telecommunicators Week, and we have special guests with us in studio today. We have Lily and Hayden, who are two of the calm professional voices that you are going to hear if you ever have the need to call 911 in St. Cloud. So ladies, welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Great. So tell us a little bit about Telecommunicators Week and talk to us a little bit about the job that you ladies do.
Well, we are dispatch, police, fire, and medical for the city of St. Cloud. Basically, National Telecommunicators Week is dedicated to the men and women that sit behind the headset. They are the quiet voice that you hear when you call during your most dire times. And it's an honor to sit with them. We have a fantastic crew, and this week allows them to kind of just loosen up a little bit, and they get to dress up, and the community sometimes will bring dinner or donuts or just meals for them to partake in. We play games, and we kind of foster more of a fun environment to kind of take away from what we do day to day.
From some of the stress, right?
Yeah.
And I know when we hear first responders, we typically think police officers, firefighters, EMS, but you guys really are the first line of first responders, because when somebody's having their worst day ever, you're the voice on the other end of the line. So very stressful job. Hayden, kind of talk a little bit about how you guys manage the stress. It sounds like this week is a great stress reliever with some of the activities going on.
Yeah, it definitely is. It adds a lot of fun into quite a stressful environment. It can be, for sure. But to be able to dress up, play silly little games, whether that be Guess Whose Pet we played last year. I think this year we're doing Guess the Vacation Spot. It's just really fun.
So how long have you two been doing this kind of job, and what prompted you to get into it?
Well, I graduated from Florida Atlantic with my degree in criminal justice. So fresh out of college me said, let's apply to St. Cloud Police Department. I've been here all my life, and I've been dispatching for almost 5 years. June will be my 5th year anniversary with the city.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for the job that you do.
Thank you.
You deal with some tough situations, and I know we're not going to go into anything that violates anybody's privacy, but, if somebody's having a heart attack, if they're injured, if they've had a car crash, you're on the receiving end of a whole lot of stress. But sometimes you get calls that are maybe a little more humorous, or, they're actually fun calls. Talk a little bit about some of those types of calls that you get that are maybe a little on the lighter side.
Well, next year it'll be 20 years that I've been with the comm center, and the one that always comes to mind when people ask me about your most memorable call was a woman that called, and she was just hysterically screaming, and she's just yelling in Spanish, he's choking, I don't know what to do, my baby's choking. And we go through automatically, we send the fire department. I'm trying to walk her through CPR instructions. And one of the instructions is to lay him flat on his back and remove anything from behind their head. And when I prompted that, she said, wait, I can't get his paws out of the way to get to his chest. Yeah. And I said, ma'am, is this your dog? And yes, this is my dog.
Oh, my word.
She was hysterical about her dog that was choking on a bone, and I had to research quickly of how to do the Heimlich on a dog. And I gave her Heimlich instructions for her dog. So.
Did it work?
It did.
Oh, yay.
I'm so excited. I was like, inquiring minds need to know.
But of course, like I said, we respond to all calls for service. So the police did go code 3 to try and help her. So like I said, it's not always what you think. It's at the other end.
And that brings up a good point. Chief Gerke has been very aggressive and outspoken with this since he's come here. And I know it's been longstanding practice. St. Cloud Police Department really prides itself on the level of service that it provides to our residents. And if you need us, we're going to be there. Yes. So, you ladies obviously are a big part of that. So thank you for that. Yeah. Can you give us some tips? I think sometimes residents don't really know, should I call 911 for this? Should I not? Is it truly an emergency? Talk us through a little bit, kind of the guidance that we give people for that.
I'd say if there's threat to life, limb, property, that is a 911 call for sure.
Okay,
yes.
Absolutely.
You don't have to actually leave your information. A lot of times you can absolutely be anonymous. We have protocols that we follow, whether it's first party, second party, third party. The most important factor that we need is the location. If you don't know the address, then provide the intersection. If you don't know the intersection, provide the closest business that you can see or some type of landmark so we can send help.
Right.
So I have a question too. I'm sorry, is that okay for me to butt in? Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I had a little situation come up a ways back, and I wasn't sure if I needed to call 911 or not, so I called the non-emergency number instead. But this was from the Great Alligator incident when I was coming home for lunch, and the alligators walking across the street and went up to my neighbor's basically front door and stayed there. And so I'm like, I think I need to call somebody about this.
Absolutely.
And at first I was going to call 911, but I'm like, it's not quite an emergency yet. But I called the not 891-6700 non-emergency number. There's a pitch there for everybody. It's 6700 non-emergency number. And they came, and so everything ended up with a happy ending. But would you say an alligator thing, would that be worth 911, or would this?
Everybody has a different meaning for what they qualify as an emergency.
Okay.
So if you think if it's an emergency, absolutely call.
Okay.
We're not going to make you hang up. We're not going to make you call back. We're going to always
We're not going to yell at you for calling us.
Not.
Yeah,
we will.
no.
One of the stores, they were literally robbed, and it's a non-emergency line, but we process those calls. We don't refuse service. Like you call 911, we process.
So that was an emergency that came through the non-emergency line.
Correct.
But so you'll go any
Either
direction.
way.
Okay.
And definitely, if the alligator has a person in his mouth, that's absolutely an emergency. Some of us think if there's an alligator on your porch, that's an emergency anyway. So I'm not sure what law he's breaking, but I feel like it should be something.
Yeah, we get them quite frequently.
There are, animal calls for sure.
Now, I know in recent years the technology has evolved such that you can actually text 911. So perhaps if you're in a situation where it's not safe for you to call, you can actually text 911. Talk a little bit about how that works.
You can for sure text 911. We just see it on one of our phone screens, and as you gather the information, we enter it into our CAD system and process the call just about the same as we would if you were over the phone. And I've actually taken a text to 911 call. Now, I don't speak Spanish, but this text was in Spanish. And I remember me and my partner, we were on Google Translate, one of us, and then the other person was like, okay, look, we're typing into the 911 call.
Teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork. Yeah. It was definitely Lou, shout out to you if you hear this.
Is there any difference in the response time that they get if they text versus call you?
No.
Absolutely
So if
not.
I'm sitting in a closet hiding from a guy with a knife in my house, it's the same as
response.
if I was
Same.
calling. Awesome. Yep. Great. We talked a little bit about your background with your degree. For people who are interested, I know we're always looking for great help in our 911 telecommunications center. What kind of training do they need? Like, who are you looking for, and kind of what makes it great? Yeah, I'm not sure I could do your job. Like, so much stress, and it's just these big adrenaline spikes, and sometimes you might not even know how the case turned out, right? But what's the kind of person you're looking for, and what kind of training do they need, and do they get once they get on the job?
I think the basic requirement right now is the high school diploma and being over 18 years of age.
Okay.
We do have a test that they have to take to qualify to be interviewed for it. So if you're interested in something in the comm center, we also offer for people to come and sit in and watch.
Awesome.
So you would contact the training coordinator and set that up, and you would come in and you would see actual comm center, like how it works. So
that's a great idea to kind of see really what the job. It's never like it is on TV.
It's
Spoiler alert.
We have
Yeah.
a fantastic comm center with state-of-the-art camera systems and our CAD integrated, and It's really a beautiful thing to see. But if you are interested, I always recommend people practice KPH, which is like a 10 key.
Okay.
You practice that because that's one of the segments that's highly weighted on that test, as well as words per minute. So I think it's 40 or 35 words per minute, and KPH or keystrokes per hour, I think it's 4,500.
Great.
So that's what I always recommend. So. But
so
we
they
need
can do a
someone-
little practice ahead of time.
Absolutely. We need people that can multitask. And when I say multitask, it's a different
it's a different kind of multitasking.
It's a different beast when it's in the comm
Yes.
center. Basically, you'll be listening on the phone, toning out your fire stations, listening to your trainer and talking on the radio. And this all kind of happens together, which is pretty cool.
And I love that you let people come in and watch that happen, because I think really until you sit and spend some time seeing that, you really don't have a concept of how that works. So
I always tell people on interviews that we don't get paid to be busy. We get paid to be amazing when it is busy. That there's like when the 911 line rings, you can feel like a pause in the room sometimes. And then when a statement is made, like your baby's not breathing or he has a gun, there's a pause in the room. And then everyone kind of takes their part of their position, and it runs like a beautiful symphony.
Machine, right?
For me, it's always like a beauty to watch. I love it.
I'd say being able to work on a team, too, is very crucial, because you have one person answering the phone calls, one person dispatching, another person running their licenses, vehicles, whatever. It's all a collective unit, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So would there be occasion where one operator might be taking multiple calls at once?
For sure.
Absolutely.
If it gets to be that
We're all cross-trained.
busy.
We're all cross-trained in every position.
Okay.
Unlike some comm centers where you just come in and you only do phones, and then you graduate and you go to fire radio, and you graduate and you go to another position. We're trained to do all positions. So at any time, they can literally be running the radio and picking up a phone call for service at the same time. So that's what I mean, that multitasking, where you can still effectively hear your caller on the phone and still respond to your units that are calling you on the radio without missing a beat.
Well, that might be what sets our department head and shoulders above the rest. That type of cross-training.
Agreed.
And Jay, I'm glad you said that, because we're going to brag on you guys for a minute. So you are a triple accredited comm center.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what that means, how you got there, and really more importantly, what it means for our residents and the service that you're providing for them.
Well, what it means for the residents is that it doesn't matter who's on the other end of the line, you're always going to get a high quality service. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're calling in English or you're calling in Spanish or you're calling in another language. Those protocols are designed to switch between those languages and help us get you the help that you need. Being a AAA is a lot of work. We have a queue team that goes through a huge volume of calls to make sure that they are up to standard as far as quality assurance, and it's a daily thing, a daily endeavor, because it's a lot of work.
It's not a thing you do once and put it on a shelf for 3 years until it's time to re-up, right? So, well, truly kudos to the two of you and to the rest of our amazing team over there. That's no small accomplishment. Not many agencies are triple accredited like you are.
I think we're number 11 in the world. I think there's only 13, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very elite and speaks very well to the quality of the people that we have on the other end of those phones when they ring. So
I have one more question. I'm sort of known for asking, hard-hitting questions of our guests, and so y'all aren't going to get out of here without the question.
I tried, ladies.
So for Telecommunicators Week, will they be bringing you pizza?
I hope so.
Usually, yes.
Okay. All right.
We'll
So
call you.
it's something you're used to. They do, because I'm very concerned about that. So
I am too now.
okay, I might have to put the word out that you guys need pizza for that. So
I think you just did.
That's
all right, there you go.
We have pizza.
That's a great one.
No, these ladies and gentlemen that work in our comm center do a great job. And on behalf of all of us at the city and our residents, thank you. You're often kind of the unsung heroes sitting in a dark room, taking those calls and being truly on the front line of first responders. So thank you. We wish you a very happy Telecommunicators Week, and enjoy your week. You've certainly earned the accolades, and we appreciate
Definitely.
you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Well, thanks for stopping by. That's it for this edition of Cloudcast. Don't forget to like, follow, rate, and review, and we'll see you next time on Cloudcast.